Dwayne Wade's ex-wife is accusing the former basketball player of exploiting their trans daughter Zaya for his own financial gain. Dwayne's ex-wife, Savon Futures Wade, would say in April of 2022, Dwayne invited me to one of his residences in Atlanta, Georgia. During this occasion, he informed me that a lot of money had already been made and that additional money will be made in relation to our child's name and gender issue. Dwayne told me that he intended to make our child very famous due to the name and gender issue, and also informed me that there will be endorsements and contracts associated therewith. Page 6 would also note that Futures Wade had asked the courts that Zaya make this decision for herself when she is the age of majority in 2.5 years. Now, before we get to today's topic, don't forget early voting has started. Voting is not the only answer, but it's a powerful tool we have for change, so don't waste it. And if you're in Georgia and need a ride to the polls, call the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683. Today we have our Comedy Hype analyst, Pierre, in studio, with Yamanika Saunders calling in to give their thoughts and reactions. Now, let's dive right into this. I know we've had the conversation, but now we're hearing from Zaya's mother. I'll start with you, Pierre. You know, when you hear the mother's stance, what are your thoughts? Do you agree, that she's right in this situation?
Yeah. Especially coming from a mother, I can understand, the love she has. But the child doesn't live with the mother, and so it seems like, Dwayne has a little more heavier hand on the situation than the mother does. Yeah, I feel it. The world we live in now, I'm still of belief to wait till the child is 18 before it makes a decision like that. And if I think the money can wait until 18 if that's the real, that's one of the underlying reasons. The money can wait. It doesn't have to be put on it. And what is it? Is it the fact that she can now say that she's legally known as a female? Right. Legally, the court is and that's going to be the big issue, that it's done when a child's 15 years old, 15 and a half. Who are these companies that are just really wanting to say that that child to say that at a young age? To say children at a young age can say that they're legally a different sex than we're born. What is up with what's that say about the companies? I mean, that's we can't wait to consider the person an adult at 18.
Right. Now, I would want to make sure that I note here that decision is referring to changing Zaya's Wade and gender, so no physical change. And I think some of those companies, one of them that was mentioned was actually Disney. But let me bring you in, Yamanika, on this and get your thoughts. When we're hearing from the mother, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with her stance on this?
Well, I mean, the mother's making a stance from a parental, standpoint, right? And it seems like the way Wade might be making, while also parental, also making business decisions on the name. So I agree with the mother. I mean, like, if she doesn't want any changes to be made to the name until 18, I agree that she has the right to feel that way and execute whatever power she has to control that. We all were under the auspices that were certain things we couldn't do until 18 or 21. However, from a business standpoint, if they are changing the name so that they can start the brand, because I understand, like, at 18 it'll be a different name, and then they'll have to restart the brand again. I understand if they want to start the brand now under the new name, these are the decisions that they're going to have to make. So I don't see what the big deal is about the name change if it's going to change regardless.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this, Yamanika, and I'm going to bring this to you as well, Pierre. How much do you think celebrity plays a role in this conversation? Like, how big of an impact, being that these are, public figures or celebrities, how much do you think that affects this particular conversation?
I think it affects it 100%. I mean, most kids who are in this situation in terms of identifying gender, sexuality, pronouns, and things of that nature are not making those decisions and then also applying fiduciary, advantages to it, and I'm not saying that they're exploiting it. What I'm saying is, here is somebody whose identity is about to be a part of a brand, and there's financial obligations to having a brand. It has to be done now. I mean, I understand if they want to get started now and the kid's hot right now, it has to be done now. The name change has to be done now. But I also feel for the mother who feels some kind of way about, let's wait until our child is 18 years old.
Right. Pierre, let me bring you in with that same question. What do you think? How much does celebrity play a role in this conversation?
I have a friend of mine named Herb Glickman. he has a son that identifies as a woman too. Do you know who Herb Glickman is?
I do not. Should I?
The question was just answered, okay? It has a lot to do with it, because Dwayne Wade and his wife is famous, Gabrielle are famous.
Right.
That's why we're talking about it. We're not talking about Herb Glickman's son trying to be a woman. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, that's enough said.
Right, no, I think you make a great point. Now, of course, we know social media is sounding off on this. A lot of people having a lot of things to say, but one of the comments, because there were a couple of them like this that stuck out, was one user said, sad that she even has to ask. And there were a couple people that liked that as well as just co-signed it as well. So Pierre, I'll come back to you with this. You know, in these situations, it's tough. It's tough. But how much, or should a mother have more say-so than a father when it comes to decisions like these that are, you know, like these?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Who should have more say-so? Obviously, the child is in one household.
Right.
Does that? And I don't know the situation. Does that mean that that they have the parental right? You know how when a parent gets the child in that house,
Correct.
Then a lot of stuff is happening from that house.
Correct.
So if that child, what's her name, Zaya, she's at Dwayne Wade's house.
Right.
He's responsible for a lot of her upbringing more than the mother is, because the mother's not in there. So the mother either, I say, gave away the rights. I don't know that scenario.
Right.
But the house that the kid is in, that's normal. When a woman has her children and the father wants to say something, have some rights, a lot of times it's hard because the child is in the mother's house and the mother's going to dictate a lot of stuff. If the daughter can wear makeup or not, acting too grown, the father may not like that. But if that father's not in that house, then a lot of decisions are printed on the parent who the child's with. Same here with this situation. Sure, the mother can feel a certain way. I don't blame her. The mother still loves her child as much, but when the child's not in your house, it's an uphill fight.
Right.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah, Monique, let me bring you in, because I think a lot of people are, just feeling away, because we are used to seeing the mother have most of those rights or kind of make those decisions. And, a lot of people are surprised and shocked in the comments that she does have to ask in this situation. So let me ask, do you think the mother should have, more to say in this than the father does when it comes to decisions like these?
Well, I mean, the beautiful young woman is living with her father. So, I mean, whoever is the parent, the head parent, I think we'd have to go all the way back. It gets messy, right? Because there was already argument about how, custody was distributed and things of that nature. One person is full of money, another person may not have as much money to fight the systems. So then you go back to that. I don't want to just write her off as a mother who gave up her right. I have no idea what the backstory is on that. Obviously, she cares enough to still want to have some type of hold on her child. But yeah, celebrity plays a huge part in it. Wherever you stand on the issue, right? In our community, we're very divided when it comes down to the lines of homosexuality. There's a lot of propaganda constantly added to that, conspiracy theories, the demasculation of the Black community. All these kind of topics are very heavy on it. So wherever you stand is where you stand. And I think some of it's getting a little convoluted because I don't think this issue is as deep as some of the things we are adding to it. We're talking about a name change. We're talking about a name change for branding. It's understandable. I dropped my last name. My father wasn't happy about that, but I just felt like it was a mouthful for people to say Yamanika Saunders. When I was 14 years old and going through whatever transition I was going through as a, teenager to young adult, it was like, I didn't want people to call me Yamanika. I wanted them to call me by my middle name, which was Torre. And I went by Torre for a year. So, kids are constantly in a situation where they're trying to find their foothold as adults, have some independence on their own. But I don't think this is a situation as much as it's a branding situation. We want to go ahead and get the name started so we can start capitalizing off the money. And this is who you're going to be for the rest of your life. So let's just get that started. And with that, I agree. Let's change the name, get the money going, because the name's going to change anyway.
Right. Go ahead.
But I think it's more than a name. Isn't the gender too?
The gender, yeah.
That she has to now be identified as a woman, has to be written, female on everything. So it's not just the name. People can, names, I get that's a little more easier. But when you make someone identify someone as something that they weren't born as,
right,
that becomes a really hot topic with people. And she wants to be said, it's got to be written. Her birth certificate has to say she's a female.
Right.
And that's where the real thing. Name change, I don't give a damn, Smith, Jackson, whatever. But when you come to gender, I think that's where the problem is going to really rise. And I think the mother is really concerned about that too, that
Right.
she's really identifying as a female besides, you know, getting it cut off.
Absolutely. And I think that brings up another point, because Yamanika, both of those combined, you know, sometimes as a teenager, there's things that you do that will affect you for your entire life.
Sure.
Sometimes those are bad decisions that you may or may not regret. So, you know, in this situation, I know the mom has some concern, and also just saying, let's wait until Zaya becomes of age, of majority, so that then you can make those decisions and not live with any regret. So let me ask you this, Pierre. You know, let's say Zaya does follow through with changing the name and changing the gender, but later regrets it. Who does that responsibility fall on, or who should be held accountable, being that a decision was made when Zaya was underage that affects Zaya for the rest of her life?
Good question. I don't know who came up with that, but that was a good question. Woo! I mean, you know, society is when you put your child out there in the public eye, you got to be careful, because society can push that pressure on you, and it could be the pressure on Dwayne Wade, because you know, Dwayne Wade didn't come out of Chicago with this whole transgender thing when he was younger.
Right.
You know, now, you know, I don't know Gabrielle like that. You know, I don't know how she came out of. A lot of people of that age in their 40s did not come out of the transgender and all this kind of stuff. Society, when you put your child out there, society starts to push on you and push and make you change your mind. Some people say, well, it's for the better. That's cool. But at the end of the day, you know, they may be pressured on accepting this situation. And so at the end, if Zaya is not happy 15, 20 years ago with the decision, do you blame the parents? Well, that's a lot of pressure. Sitting home now, watching this, you can say, I wouldn't. You'd be surprised some of the stuff you pressure. Women do stuff on social media or try to get booties and everything, but the society, that pressure is a beast. Yeah. If you can handle the pressure in life, congratulations. A lot of people cannot handle being called names and being taught and say you got a flat butt, you ain't cute enough, you're too skinny, whatever the case may be. Right. So to say who's to blame at the end of the day, the child is 15 years old. Let's say it goes, the name change or whatever, that's whatever. But if it comes to a surgery or whatever, that's a little more heavier. You can't reverse that. You can reverse the name on, yeah. Say I'm going to be considered a man, you know, instead of woman right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to say who's to blame when it goes down, that's a hard one, because you know it's a lot of pressure on them parents and the kid at the same time. So
yeah, no, I think you bring a great point up there, Yamanika. Let me ask you the same question. You know, in the aftermath of these types of decisions, who do you think should be held accountable if later Zaya does regret the decisions that are made right now?
I mean, Pierre's right. People are under a lot of pressure. You know, he said women with the BBLs and all the stuff that we're under pressure. And let's not forget the men too, because they getting these hair plugs and these hair weaves and all this other stuff and these dick implants. I was under the assumption that there was a non-surgical happening, right? So listen, when it's happening, right? We can go back and forth and it's happening. She wants to be identified as a female. Now, if we were talking about surgery, I definitely would pump the brakes on that, because I don't believe anyone under the age of 18, or really until you really gotten to the point as an adult where you can really make decisions and thought out decisions. That's just my personal opinion, no matter what it was. Even going to war, I think 18 is too young. You know, I think drinking at 21 is too, because I understand, like, now that we're older, we understand the mentality of like these decisions, these important decisions you put in the hands of people who think they're adults, but they really are not adults. Then that would be a whole different conversation. The conversation of her wanting to be identified as a female. Listen, yeah, we in our 40s. Pierre, you still in your 40s? But
41.
You 41?
Mm-hmm. That's what I tell my 29-year-old girlfriend. Okay.
Well, let me tell you something. That Pierre and I are good company together, and I'm glad that my brother's 41 with me. But the reality is, right, when I was growing up, and we are in our 40s, and we did not have to do certain things. So I always tell people, like, you have to give people a little bit of a curve when they grew up very different, and we are trying to get on board now with how people are doing things. We ask for the same grace for the generation before us. But we had a different type of trans community and LGBTQ community, because now everybody got their shit together. When we was growing up, it would be the dude, you know what I'm saying, that wants you to call him somebody, call him a lady, full beard, ball bulge, the whole thing. And then we had to deal with that. When I was growing up in Baltimore, well, really I was from Aberdeen, but you know, I said, go on. We had Miss Tony. Miss Tony said, how you want curry? Miss Tony said, how you want curry? What's up? What's up? What's up? We knew Miss Tony wasn't a born no damn woman, but we said, Miss Tony, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so when it's all about respect at the end of the day, people will argue about, I don't believe in homosexuality. Oh, that's this. Doesn't matter what you believe in. When people want to be identified as something, do your best to try to make people as comfortable with who they want to be identified as you are being identified with who you are.
Absolutely. No, I mean, a great point. Pierre, I'll let you add to that.
And it's funny, we're talking about the young
Zaya.
We're talking about Zaya wanting to change. You know, if someone wants to get their stuff changed down there at such a young age, we have to understand this. This is one of the major things we overlook. Zaya is being protected right now by her parents. Let Zaya live on her own and see how she likes it being who she is, and see how society treats her, and she can't come crying to her mama at night or whatever the case may be, and then see if they want a change.
Right.
Because right now, to say, I want to change, yeah, you want to change because you live in a situation that's really conducive for your mental health or whatever you want to call it. Let a child go outside the world, like she was saying, 18 or 21, and deal with society looking at you when you're on the train station or you're at work and all that, and say, you know what, is this what you really, really wanted? Now, if you really want it like that, then okay, get changed. But at 15 to change it, while you're at 15, I want to be Superman in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to jump until you get your behind out in the real world. You're like, whoa, this ain't working. This Superman, this cape ain't really saving my behind. You know what I'm saying? So I think people got to realize that too, that the parents are coddling, and just there's a security, or a net, for that child right now. I say the child should not even, you know what I'm saying, want all that change at such a young age until they're out to see if can they handle it in the real world of what they want.
Absolutely. No, I think both of you.
Let me say this one thing, Symphony, and I agree with Pierre on every front. And I'm proud of myself because, everybody says I like to just interrupt people. So I'm proud of the changes that I've made. I'm also transitioning. I'm transitioning to a bitch that will listen before she says anything. Okay? So acknowledge who I am. Those are my pronouns. Huh? What you say? I'm here. Now, just for very clear, and I agree 100% with what Pierre is saying, I don't want to reduce that there's a lot of attacks this young lady has gone through. I understand she is under the protection of her family, but I think they come at her very, very hard. And I think that's really the point for me is once this child gets out into the real world as an adult, and even with the attacks that are going to come to people who are transitioning, that's the whole point. It's like, no, they're not going to say, okay, I'm not going to, because it's too hard for me. It's about giving them a space where they can transition, where it doesn't have to be hard for them, because they're going to get the tax. And then people go, but this is really who I feel like I am inside. Why can't I be me? And I think we really need to focus more on the attack culture. And with that being said, I completely understand. I am a Christian, the whole thing. I believe everybody should have respect, but I also believe that sometimes when people think something is infringing upon their eyesight or that make them uncomfortable, that we also disproportionately affect people who we feel make us uncomfortable and are not really uncomfortable to, because someone transitioning is not causing you to die. You understand? So let's just have a space for everybody. That also includes the big bitches. P.S. Because I'm a big bitch. What about me? Huh? What about the Big Bertha love? Huh? The Big Bertha with 2 cats, over 40, hit the wall love. Give me some love.
Well, we definitely love you, but I do think a great point that was made, and this is something I always push as well. You don't have to agree with the things that other people are doing, but just have respect. Have respect for what they're doing if it's not physically harming you as a person. So thank both of you for joining this topic. I know it's one of the ones we talked about, but we'll see how everything continues to unfold. Of course, before we head out, I'd like to know what you have going on. And I'll start with you, Pierre, because I know you have a gift here.
Right. The love is in the air.
The love is in the air.
I got my girl Yamanika. I got her a comedy hype jacket. Okay. This might, hope this fits and shit, but
Be quiet, Pierre. Yeah.
This large as it come, okay? Shit, okay? Anything else is a blanket. Fuck it. Okay, so this is right here, girl, for you.
Get myself into it.
I hope you rock it. I hope you rock it. I will be at in Birmingham at the Stardome this Friday, November 4th. November 4th, so all my folks in Birmingham, Alabama, come on out and, just have some fun. It's going to be a great show. My man, Sir Walt, is on the show. It's going to be a fantastic show. And this week, we have John Hinton on my podcast, on Pierre's podcast on YouTube. John Hinton Overton, he lays it down. He talks about a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff I didn't realize people didn't know about him, too. I was like,
Yeah.
because I'm in the inner circle, so I knew a lot of it already, but the average person doesn't know. So check out him this week on my podcast. And don't forget, I have a streamer coming out, a stand-up streamer called Half Truths. This is my first special with Comedy Hype, hopefully many more. It's their first one. They're going to be on the streamer called Half Truths. It'll be dropping mid to late November, so check that out. I think the 18th, 19th, something like that. So support it. I hope you do. It's funny. I'll tell you how, I'll tell you about both halves of my size. I know some of y'all want just watch. It's about 30-minute special, so some of you niggas just watch 15 minutes, okay? The black one, okay?
And how can people follow you?
Okay. At Comic Pierre. And if you don't know how to spell Comic Pierre, then don't follow me, okay?
Yamaneika, I'll kick it over to you. What do you have coming up? I know your birthday is tomorrow, so happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, happy birthday.
What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
Thank you. Well, I want to say something very special for my birthday. I told Symphony earlier, my mother just really adores you and just thinks you're just the best. So I want to say that publicly to you. My mother also loves Pierre. I mean, everyone just really, all the feedback that I've gotten from everyone, people have asked me about when I'm going to go in the panic room and why Pierre doesn't have me there. We are working diligently. He's busy. I'm busy. He has offered me. So I want to clear the air. There's not him not asking me. We're going to find the time because I'm super excited about being there and I want to sit down in that illustrious seat. All you can do for my birthday is just, give love. Oh, also for John and everybody else, the background that you guys don't get to see. Thank you guys for being so welcoming to me. I just want people to give love and peace. I have a show coming up Monday, the 7th of November. It's a part of the New York Comedy Festival. It's going to be at Caroline's at 9:45. Come participate, have fun. And that's it. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys.
Absolutely. And how can people follow you, of course?
Everything at Big Bertha will never not have cats. Everything at Yamaneika. Please go follow me. And I can't wait to stuff my ass in that shirt. I can tell you right now, that jacket is going, I'm going to get in that jacket.
There you go.
I can't wait. We're going to make sure we all have it on together. Again, happy early birthday, Yamaneika. Thank you both for chiming in on this topic. Also, before we head out, don't forget to vote. If you need a ride to the polls and you're in Georgia, call the Coalition for the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683. Once again, that's 877-524-8683. Well, you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Zaya's mom speaking out on this issue? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in those comments.
And hey, Yamaneika's mama.
Happy birthday, Yamaneika.
Happy birthday.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.